What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. Well, it's that time of year again. When it comes time to planting tomatoes, there's a couple ways to plant them, and I always get asked, how should I be planting them? And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to plant tomatoes two different ways. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know that we're a big proponent of burying them deep. Now, burying tomatoes deep is a good thing because all along the stem, tomatoes have these little hairs, and I'll bring you guys in close to show you what I'm talking about, but those hairs are actually, they're root fibers that if they are exposed to soil and moisture, they'll turn into actual roots. And so because tomatoes are a vine, they want to touch as much soil as possible so that they can be bigger, stronger, have a more developed root system. And so regardless of how you bury or how you transplant your tomatoes, I see a lot of people wanting to just kind of pot it up and just put it right at soil level and not bury it deep. And it's just not the way to do it because you're not going to have a healthy plant. You're not going to have a really established root system. And you can really get just so much more out of what you're growing. And the more roots, the more nutrients, the more water, the bigger the plant, the more fruit it's going to put out. And and the healthier it's going to be long term. So regardless of how you bury it, I would suggest at least burying it. Then it comes down to there's two ways to bury it, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video because you get two different types of tomatoes. You get one that is kind of what you call kind of a stocky tomato, and then one is more of a lanky tomato. Now, both of these are extremely healthy. It just has to do with the genetics of the tomato. Some plants like beefsteaks are usually more stocky, and that's because they have more of a fruit yield, say 2 to 3 pound tomatoes, which are very heavy. You might get 10 or 15 tomatoes on that plant, so you're talking 30 plus pounds of tomatoes on that plant. So it's actually beneficial for that plant to be stockier. So this is a beefsteak variety. This is actually a pink Brandywine. We love this variety, and you'll notice that it's very, very stocky compared to this cherry variety. This is the tropical sunrise, or tropical sunset actually. And you'll notice a cherry tomato, much less fruit yield, or I mean there's lots of fruit, but much less, the weight of the fruit is much less. And so it's a little bit more lanky of a plant. Both were grown in the same conditions. Both are planted at the same time. One is just stockier than the other. And so there's two different ways to plant these, and that will dictate the size and type of plant will dictate how you bury them. So the first method that I'm going to show you guys is just the traditional burying deep, straight up and down vertical planting. So coming in close, I'll show you that, and then I'll show you the next method, which is a little bit different, but really good for these taller, lankier plants. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is plant this kind of more stocky, short plant. So what we're going to do is, as always, we're going to take off these lower leaves, and that's because you don't want to bury those. You never want to bury plant material that's anything other than the stem itself. And that's because if you actually bury these leaves, they're very prone to getting things like blight and whatnot from the soil. So you want to naturally kind of prune some of those up. So we're going to take these leaves here and break those off. And this seems crazy because now we're left with just about 2 different sets of leaves here. And we're going to take this plant and we're going to bury this all the way up to that first set of leaves. Now, we did already apply trifecta to the whole bed, but if we were going to be using trifecta or any fertilizer, now is when you'd fertilize. You'd put the fertilizer into the hole here, and that's a great way. But like I said, we've already fertilized this whole bed, so I don't need any more. So now we're just going to backfill, and you'll notice we're basically up to, like I said, that first set of leaves there. And now all of that plant is under the soil. It's all going to, in about 2 weeks time, be growing new roots. It's going to be nice and established. And this plant here is going to grow so much faster. It's going to be so much more well established. And the benefit is because it's deeper, there's less chance of it drying out. If you've ever had blossom end rot is caused from the soil having inconsistent water, and the plant can't uptake the calcium found in the soil. So by planting this plant nice and deep, there's going to be nice consistent moisture down deeper where there's less evaporation, and water just, well, because of gravity, goes down through the soil. So there's more water down lower for that plant to tap into. All right, let's plant the taller, lankier plant. All right, so now we're going to plant a taller, lankier plant. Now you'll notice it's pretty challenging because of how tall this plant is. You'd have to dig a really, really deep hole to get the same effect as the first plant. And also, if you were to do this method with the shorter plant, something may happen that you don't really like. So one of the benefits with a tall, lanky plant is what's called the trench method, or the lay down method. So if you lay the plant down and bury it in a trench, you can actually still bury it without having to dig the hole that deep. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to basically, where you want the plant to be, so I want the plant to be about 1.5 feet away from here. So actually, I'm actually going to plant it this way and have the tomato this way, so it's not too close to the other plant. There you go. Dig that out like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay it down. So rather than planting it twice as deep, because if we were to plant it like this, all this would still be above soil. So we're still going to remove all these lower leaves like we would always. And then remove these too. And then, like I said, so all we're going to do is just lay it down and gently bend the plant up. Now you want to be very careful not to force this, because you can easily snap the stem. But you'll notice you don't even know that the plant is over here and it's laying down and being bent upwards. It looks exactly the same as the first plant. And that's what I really love about this method, is that this allows you the ability to plant a tall, lanky plant exactly the same way. But if you were to plant a stocky plant like this, that root, or that stem is so stocky and so thick that if you were to bend it, it most likely would snap. So it's actually better to plant your stockier, shorter plants upright and to plant your taller, lankier plants in a trench. Still, you get the exact same result. All right, so I'm gonna get the rest of these tomato plants planted up here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And I really do hope that you apply these tricks in your garden to not only help you grow big or go home, but just help you to have an easier time in the garden. So if you did enjoy and you learned something new, make sure to throw a like up there. Share this video if you did find it informative and you think one of your friends would enjoy it as well. That always helps to get our videos spread around. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And as always, we'll catch you all on the next episode. Grow big or go home, everyone. Bye.